Norman, and all the others. This is Alex, W7FDM, along with Vicky, KEH-VKY. We will be your net control for the Saturday Night Trivia Net number 106. Simply direct the net so all traffic should go through net control. And does anyone have any emergency traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, please come now. If you do have an emergency at any time during the net, just say break, break, identify yourself, and we will come to your assistance immediately. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And the question of the night, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Of course, each of these would make for difficult social situations, but if you had your druthers, you only do one or the other. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Let's see who's checked in so far tonight. We have KJ6ARR, German George in Scottsdale, checked in via email and got his question correct. We have GR2FJI, George in Kilagoi, Japan, and via email. N6MOT, Little Isle in Monterey, California. KN6MIK, Mike in San Diego. KK7ABK, Victoria, Phoenix. KK7HLD, Dave in Portland, Oregon. And via the text line, we have KD3ATQ, Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania. KI7ZRI, Don in Kennewick, Washington. KD5AJZ, Alex in Pasadena, welcome back. KD6EIR, Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon. N7FGP, VK2DY, Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia. KF6HD, Brent in Pensacola, Florida. Let me drop. We have KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. N5ZUA, Steve in Houston. KN6JLW, KN6JLX, Stephanie and Larry in Elk Grove, California. We have K8BYU, Roy in Blasdell. Welcome back, Roy. New York, that is. K7K, Kevin in Portland, one of our facilitators. And K2CCK, Matthew in Frankfurt, New York. And now, if there's anybody else like to check into the Trivia Net, please come with your full call sign slowly and twice, please. KK7OGC, KK7OGC. Whiskey 9. KJ5LHY, KJ5LHY. Juliet 5, Juliet November, Juliet. Go back. Juliet 5, Juliet November, Juliet. Kilo 5, Yankee November uniform. Kilo 5, Yankee November uniform. Born in Conroe, Texas. In and out tonight. Okay, let's hold it up there, and we added to that list. We have K2CCK, I think I did that here in Frankfurt, New York. KK7OGC, Fred in Reno. How you doing, Fred? KJ5LHY, Daniel in New Caney, Texas. N4OSU, Jerry in Fort Lauderdale. And welcome back, Jerry. KJ5JNJ, Justin in Conroe, Texas. K5YNU, Florin in Conroe, in and out. And Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, AC4. BR. Okay. The top of the list, question of the night, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Let's see if George made it through there in Kagoe, Japan. JR2FJI, George. What say you?
Howdy there, Alex. That's a good question. Do I have any advantage being able to shout or just to whisper? I don't know. It's the question is like, do you like to get married to a transsexual A or transsexual human? I don't know. But okay, let's go with whisper. Why not whisper? Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, George. Whisper it is, and I think I'll save that other question, the question of the night. Just kidding. George, your question is, what is the beer mile? The beer mile. A mile-long string of breweries in Munich, Germany, where most of the world's beer comes from. B, a mile-long race where runners must drink a pint of beer for every quarter mile. Or C, that last mile you have to drive home after a night of drinking beer and still make it to the restroom in time. But please don't drink and drive. Which of those is correct, George?
Well, you always have those special questions. In this case, I guess, since you're American, it must be an American event, so I will go with B. Yeah, okay, let's go with B. Okay, Alex, as always, thank you for doing the net. Have a good one. Also to the rest of the net. 73 JR2FTI, Border 1. Ciao, ciao.
Well, George, you ever visited the beer mile in Munich? No, you're right. The beer mile is a mile-long race where runners must drink a pint of beer for every quarter mile. Must be interesting to watch. It's got its own website and everything. It's apparently they have it in different locations, but probably to avoid the police. Anyway, thank you, George. Got you down, buddy. Little Al, Monterey, California, N6, MOT. Okay, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Well, good evening, everybody. Little Al here, N6 MOT. Well, Alex, there's one thing you probably don't know about me. I'm Italian. But we don't whisper at all. Everything we do is loud, and I've been asked, did I learn to whisper in a sawmill? You know, got in trouble in school all the time because I thought I was talking soft. No way. Teachers in the next classroom heard me. So, I have no choice. I gotta shout. Or talk with my hands. Anyway, back to you, Alex. I'm ready for a question.
Over deviated is your middle name. That's, actually I wouldn't do that. Alright, well, your question is, professional falconer is an actual career that involves handling and training falcons for A, Renaissance festivals, B, movies and television shows like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, or C, being deployed at airports to ward off cause aircraft accidents. What's that professional falconer do?
But I'm going to go with C. The professional falconer is probably used at airports to keep the airport safe from bird strikes. Yeah, I'm going to go with C.
When they see a falcon, they think, oh, shh, and they get the heck out of there. So. Thank you, Little Al. Mike in San Diego, KN6, MIK. All right, Mike, only be able to whisper, only be able to shout if you had your druthers.
Good evening, Alex. Always a pleasure. KN6, MIK, Mike here in San Diego. I'm going to text Al, have him turn his mic gain down. But for myself, I think whisper. People tend to pay attention more intently when you whisper. And I'm ready for a question.
That's a good point. Of course, some people should talk on the radio using only their hands. That would be a improvement. So your question, Mike, is if you fly around the country at lower altitudes, you can see large white arrows on the ground in some states. The arrows were put there, A, by the ancient Pointer Indians as a way to worship their sky god, B, by the U.S. Postal Service to guide pilots delivering airmail at night, or C, by UFO enthusiasts to direct aliens to safe landing sites. What are those arrows doing there?
I think I actually know this one, Alex. I believe it's B. Back in the day when they used to do the airmail, pilots were following arrows across the ground. Always a pleasure, Alex. KN6MIK, back to you.
And yeah, you're correct. It's the Postal Service put them down to guide pilots. They were originally painted bright yellow and lit up by beacons to guide nighttime airmail pilots in the 1920s. And there were arrows all the way from New York to San Francisco. And some of them are still there, but a lot of them have just been covered up and, erosion or whatever, and covered by wind dust and everything else. But we actually have one of those just north of Mesa, Arizona, that points all the way to Phoenix. So I've seen them. Thank you, Mike. Victoria in Phoenix, KK7AVK. All right, Victoria, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Good evening, Alex. This is Victoria, KK7AVK. I think whispering would be less obnoxious, so I would pick that for sure. I'm ready for the question.
All right, got you down for the whisper, and your question is, in which kind of restaurant are you likely to consume more calories than usual? Which kind of restaurant are you likely to consume more calories than usual? A fast food restaurant, B, a dimly lit restaurant, or C, any restaurant. Let's face it, we eat too much. What do you think?
Oh, I was expecting one of the answers to be one of those all-you-can-eat buffet-style restaurants. I don't know if they're considered restaurants or just... Anyway, I'm going to go with Alpha, the fast food restaurant. But usually those calories. Let's see if that's the right answer. Thanks, Alex. Have a great evening. KK7AVK, back to net.
Well, you definitely get a lot of calories at those fast food restaurants, but oddly enough, you're not likely to eat more than you are anywhere else. It's the dimly lit restaurant that you're more likely to consume more calories than usual, which is why a lot of restaurants are dimly lit. A study in 2017 found that customers tend to make healthier choices in brightly lit establishments. In dimmer settings, they ordered meals that had more calories on average. Somebody actually studied that. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD. Okay, Dave, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Boy, that's a tough one. On one hand, I spent my whole childhood projecting my voice louder than it needed to be. So I spent a lot of time learning how not to project my voice. And on the other hand, shouting might be easier for me. But, of course, on the radio, I got mic gain. So, tough question. I got friends that are deaf, so I'll go with shout. Gosh dang it, Togs. I'll send it, I don't understand why those old airmail guys didn't just use their GPS or their LAN. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Back to you.
There's a funny commercial out. They haven't played it so much yet. It's obnoxious yet. It showed this fellow leading a wagon train, the old grizzled, long-haired, gray guy, the typical scout, leading a wagon train across the desert. And the people are in awe the way he can find his way around, and it shows him like sniffing the air and looking around, and And then he looks down in his saddlebag or his little pouch on his saddle that nobody can see. And there's a GPS unit in there. Anyway, Dave, your question is, okay, you have a Jeopardy-style question. The answer is every 15th person on the Earth. Every 15th person on the Earth. What's the question? A, how many people have dated Taylor Swift? B, how many people own a Harry Potter book? Or C, how many people are amateur radio operators? What do you say, Dave?
Well, I'm not sure anybody reads anymore, so that's a hard one to pick. But considering my math, I don't think that 80,000 in the U.S. would add up to 1 in every 15. So I guess I got to go for the books, which is okay by me because, especially with my HF antenna down, I actually read more than I radio. Thanks for the great net. KK7HL.
Yep, you got it, Dave. Yeah, only every 25th person has dated Taylor Swift. Every 15th person on Earth owns the Harry Potter book. Yeah, I couldn't wait for the movies. Well, it's okay. Good for J.K. Rowling. She's facing a lot of baloney right now. Thank you, Dave. Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania, KD3 ATQ. Jim, welcome to the net. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Yeah, but Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania, did you connect back up? KD3 ATQ. Okay, the net is young. You can always check in when we're done with this round. Going next to Don in Kennewick, Washington, KI7ZRI. Don, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Hey there, Alex, and everyone on that, KI7ZRI. I would say shout, because I am hard of hearing, but also, truthfully, I use that as an excuse because I'm rarely paying attention. Give me that question there, Alex.
You definitely want to be heard. Of course, on the radio, you can whisper and just turn your gain up and not have to worry about it, I guess. You're up. All right, your question, Don, is Englishman Gordon Sumner, better known by the stage name Sting, was the lead singer of the rock band The Police before moving on to his solo career. How did Sumner get the name Sting, or the nickname? A, his astrological sign is Scorpio. B, he liked to wear a yellow and black sweater his girlfriend knitted for him. Or C, his favorite film was the Paul Newman movie The Sting. What do you think?
I think I'm going to go with Charlie there. Thanks for your net. Everyone have a good evening. 7-3.
Although that's one of my favorite movies, that's not why he called himself Sting. It's B. He liked to wear a yellow and black sweater his girlfriend knitted for him. His bandmates would mock him, saying he looked like a bee, and the name stuck. By the way, Sting is a Libra, if anyone cares. Now that he's in his 70s, ladies, you probably have a better chance of dating him. So, thanks, and then maybe not. Thank you, Don. Let's go to Alex in Pasadena, Texas, KD5AJZ. AJZ, Alex. Only able to whisper, only able to shout. What would you choose?
Good evening, Alex, everyone on the net.
I have one of those voices that tends to carry a lot more than I'd like it to, so shouting would definitely be out. Plus, I always felt like if you have something worthwhile to say and people want to hear, you should be able to whisper and be heard. So definitely whisper for me. I'm ready for my question, Alex.
That's right. They can just pay attention to you and listen more carefully. I mean, you got a point there. The question, Alex, you get the Weird News Trivia Story of the Week. Hey, only one this week. Here it is. Which one of the following headlines was an actual news story from last week? A. Bad retrieving dog makes his Major League Baseball debut. B. Runaway zebra spotted. No word on what happened to its stripes. Or C. Rock band changes name to Missing Cat in order to save money on posters. Which one of those was an actual news story?
You do give me the interesting questions, Alex. All of them sound equally unreasonable. C sounds even silly, so let's go with C. Have a great evening. Love the net as always. KD5AJZ, back to you.
And see, I thought that was a good idea. You'd have posters and flyers all over the place if you change your hand's name to Missing Cat. But it's, it's a Weird News Trivia Story from last week was a bad retrieving dog and Major League Baseball debut. Bruce, a 21-month-old golden retriever, fetched a bat during a ceremony Saturday before the Washington Nationals lost to the Miami Marlins as part of a Pups in the Park promotion. God, is everybody doing the park thing? Yeah. Anyway, Bruce retrieved bats the last 2 seasons with the Rochester Red Wings, Washington's AAA affiliate, and now he's moved to the big leagues. Yeah, good for him. You know, the Yankees should trade Anthony Volpe for him. I'm sure the dog has a better batting average than he does. Thank you, Alex. To the W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, along with Vicky, K8VKY. You're listening to the East Coast Reflector Trivia Net. Going next to Wes, Grants Pass, Oregon. Wes, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
This is KI7, Iowa J. I heard Grant Pass and give you a shout. I'm not sure if this is a net. I heard show him, I'll tell you right now. Trying to get him in the radio. Trying to get him to nerd out with me. Come back.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, we are doing a net right now. I was looking for Wes in Grants Pass, and if you want to check in, though, when I get to this one group, go ahead and check in. We'll get you a trivia question. So, Wes, KD6DIR, how you out there, buddy? Okay, looks like the connection dropped, so let's... Very funny, Vicky. If you let me know what's going on behind the scenes. Scott in Houston, Texas, N7FGP. Scott, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Well, good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net tonight. I think I would rather only be able to shout. Then I could start my own death metal band. Ready for a question.
Yeah, Dave said he had a lot of deaf friends. I'm wondering if that's how they went deaf, because he liked to shout all the time. Just kidding. All right, Scott, your question is... Okay, I've got a few of these tonight. Words from other countries that should have an English equivalent but don't. Okay, you got that? Words from other countries that should have an English equivalent but don't. The German word Neidbau, Neidbau, is that A, a person who needs to replace the damaged bow, and B, an unnecessary building constructed for the sole purpose of annoying one's neighbor. Or C, walking into a building and forgetting what you went in there for. Yeah, well, which is it?
Oh boy, let's try Charlie on that tonight. Thanks for doing the net. N7FGP.
Thank you, Scuttle. That's one we can all identify with. Maybe it has a name. Anyway, the German word Neubau is an unnecessary building constructed for the sole purpose of annoying one's neighbor. That's if you live in an HOA, that's pretty stellar. I might have to try it. Too much work, too hot outside. Thanks, Scott. Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Good afternoon, Alex. This is Robert, VK2DY. Well, I was going to say whisper, but I've been shoved to another room now because my wife is having a conversation with someone else, and they're both very, very loud. So I think if I were anything but loud, I think I wouldn't get my get into any conversation. So let's go with loud, VK2DY.
My words but a whisper, your deafness a shout. Okay, now I hear you. Seriously, the question is, one more of these. Words from other countries that should have an English equivalent but don't. The Japanese word nekama, N-E-K-A-M-A. A man who pretends to be a woman on the internet. B, a woman in a bar who pretends to have questionable morals when all she really wants is a free drink. Or C, wrong hole. What's nekama mean?
Repeat for me, Alex, please. Sorry.
Oh, do you need the question reread, Robert?
The questions and the answers, I was distracted. She came into this room now. VK2DY.
Just me. You leave Robert alone. He's on my net, okay? I don't have enough check-ins as it is. All right, Robert, the question is, words from other countries that have, well, anyway, you got the premise, I hope. The Japanese word nekama, N-E-K-A-M-A, is that A, a man who pretends to be a woman on the internet, B, a woman in a bar who pretends to have questionable morals, but all she really wants is a free drink, or C, wrong hole. What does nekama mean?
You got me, Alex. I have no clue which one it's going to be. So let's go. I really want to do the wrong hole one, but let's go with the woman in a bar who pretends. Yeah, let's go with that one. I think that was Bravo, wasn't it? VK2DY.
It's actually nekama in Japan is a man who pretends to be a woman on the internet. Yeah, and they have those in America too. Yeah. Answer C is from a golfing joke, and you've heard the punchline. It's what do you mean wrong hole? I'll leave it at that. Thanks, Robert. Brent in Pensacola, Florida, KF6HTJ. How you doing, Brent? Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Well, good evening, Alex and Vicky in the net.
Well, I was going to go with shout because I like to be heard, but then I thought about my radio hobby, and, people are okay if they can't hear you. They'll ask you to repeat over and over again, but if you're overmodulated, they want to hunt you down, and I think I already drive Dick batty enough. So I'll go with whisper. And, I knew the last question wasn't bravo, because we do have a word for that.
Good point. And, if you talk too loud on the East Coast Reflector, the Godfather's Goon Squad will hunt you down and, break your arm or something, so be careful with that. And your question, Brent, is, yep, I got another one. Words from other countries that have an English equivalent, should have an English equivalent, but don't. Okay, the Russian word pochemuchka. Pochemuchka. Don't ask me to spell it. A, a person who has had too much poche. B, a person who sits at a traffic light talking on their cell phone after the light turns green. Brother. And C, a person who asks too many questions. Let's say pochemuchka in Russia.
Oh, I really don't know, but I'm going to go with Charlie.
One person got one of these correct. Yeah, you're right. Pochemuchka in Russian is a person who asks too many questions. Oh. Thank you, Brent. Yeah, you got it, buddy. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. All right, Patrick, only able to whisper or only able to shout? KI7LAG. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. Are you with us? Or are you whispering? Right then, we'll try and check in a bit here. We're almost done with this round. Let's go to Steve in Houston, Texas. N5 ZUA Steve. Okay, you can only shout or you can only whisper. Which one you gonna pick?
Well, good evening, Alex. I'll have to take whisper, and I must apologize for shouting my check-in because I accidentally had the caps lock key on my phone when I texted in my call sign. Go with your question.
You should do your nets that way. That'd make it really interesting. Your question, Steve, is, another one of these. Words from other countries that should have an English equivalent but don't. The German word Drachenfutter. Drachenfutter. A, a gift a man brings to his wife to make up for something stupid that he's done. B, a gift a man brings to his wife that was meant for his mistress. I hate when that happens. Or C, a gift a man brings to his ex-wife trying to get her back after she found out about his mistress. Let's say Drachenfutter in Germany.
Oh, I think we'll try a Bravo on that one. Why not? N5ZUA, thank you.
Must be a German thing. I never have to bring my wife a gift for doing anything stupid. It's what it is. Yeah, it's a Drachenfutter, which literally means dragon fodder. It's a gift a man brings to his wife to make up for something stupid that he's done. Thanks. Thanks, Steve. Checking in. Let's go to Stephanie and Larry in Elk Grove, California. KN6JLW, KN6JLX. Okay, guys, but you're either only able to whisper or only be able to shout.
Hey Alex, this is Larry KN6JLX along with Stephanie KN6JLW, and we would both want to whisper. Right, Steph? Yep. Go ahead with our question.
She whispered her answer in your ear, huh? Cool. Your question, guys, is, fortunately, the last one of the words from other countries that should have an English equivalent, but don't. The Yiddish words shlemiel and shlematzel. Shlemiel and shlematzel. What does those Yiddish words mean? A shlemiel is a dork and a shlematzel is his wife. B, a shlemiel is a plain bagel and a shlematzel is a bagel covered with schmear. Or C, a shlemiel is a clumsy person and a shlematzel is his unlucky victim.
Okay, Alex, I think we're both going to go Charlie. Thanks for doing the net and have a good week.
Well done, guys. Well done. Yeah, it's a shlemiel is a clumsy person and a shlematzel is his unlucky victim. That's a word they should have in English too. Thanks, Larry and Stephanie. All right, let's go to, it's a W7 FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, along with Vicky K8 VKY in Michigan, and you're, listening to the East Coast Reflector Trivia Net. Sorry, let me scroll up here. Roy in Blasdell, New York, K8 BYU. Roy, only able to whisper, only able to shout. What's the you?
Everybody on the Trivia Net, K8 BYU. I'll take Tears for Fears for $1,000.
Whisper it is. Yeah, I didn't know you knew about that band, Roy. Your question is, the westernmost state capital in the contiguous United States is nicknamed the Cherry City. This westernmost state capital is nicknamed the Cherry City. Are we talking about A, Tacoma, Washington, B, Salem, Oregon, or C, Virginia City, Nevada?
I believe it's Salem, Oregon.
Yeah, you're good with your geography questions, Roy. Yeah, that is correct. Yes, Salem, Oregon is the westernmost state capital, and it's nicknamed the Cherry City. Cherries grow there. I know I was in Idaho, not too far away, and they had cherry trees in my sister's backyard. Thank you, Roy. Got you down, buddy. And Kevin is up next, one of our facilitators in Portland, Oregon, KU7K. Kevin, would you rather only to be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Hey, good evening, Alex. Thanks for checking me in. I'll make one comment. The juxtaposition of some of the people's answers and their actual deviation has been pretty amusing, I think. As far as the question, I think I'd probably be more pleasant to be around if I just whispered. I have my brain trust here with me on the couch, and we are ready for your hardest question, please.
It's a geography question. You might get this. Okay, now California might be the westernmost of the two states, but which city in Nevada is actually further west than LA, than Los Angeles, further west? Is it A, Las Vegas, B, Reno, or C, Virgin City?
We have an answer, Alex, but we forgot which cities were which letters. Can you repeat those for us?
I know it happens to me all the time, and I'm posting it. It's A, Virginia City, B, Carson City, or C, I'm sorry, that's the next question. A, Las Vegas. Confusing, isn't it? A, Las Vegas, B, Reno, or C, Virgin City, which is the furthest west than Los Angeles.
We're going to go with B, Reno. Thanks, Alex.
KE7K.
Oh, sure, you bring the smart one in. Yeah, that's it, Reno. The way it sits on the corner of Nevada there, it's actually further west than LA. Yes, Reno sits at 119 degrees west longitude. Los Angeles is at 118 degrees west longitude. So miss it by that much. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Matthew in Frankfort, New York. KE2, CCK, welcome back. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Hey there. To you and everyone on the net. I don't know. I suppose maybe I'd rather be able to shout. I've only ever heard a song come out across the radio about shouting. But, I guess that's my answer. Back to you.
Got you down for the shouting, Matthew, and your question is, in June 1859, the Comstock lode was unearthed in what Nevada city? Well, which Nevada city? Is it A, Virginia City, B, Carson City, C, Reno? Where'd they find the Comstock lode?
Kind of go with Reno, but then again, I'm not too sure on that.
Bonanza. It's Virginia City. Yeah, that's where they found one of the largest silver deposits ever discovered. It was in Virginia City. You knew that one was going to have to be right sooner or later. And actually, the one. Anyway, that's the correct answer. Even though I got a few of the questions in the wrong order, but no problem. Nobody noticed anyway. Thanks, Matthew. All right, the W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, along with Vicky KE8 VKY in Michigan. Your redheaded stepchild in the East Coast Reflector family, along with Vicky, who was a straight A student and knew better than to mess with guys like me. Let's go to Fred in Reno. Speaking of Reno, KK7OGC. You probably would have got those last few correct, Fred. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Well, heck, Alex, I wish I would have had both the last questions. Definitely whisper. Anyway, thank you, Alex and Vicky.
No problem, Fred. You're kind of soft-spoken like I am. It drives your wives and girlfriends crazy, especially when they need hearing aids. Is she out of earshot? Oh, of course she is. All right, your question, Fred, is what is the capital of Canada? There you go. Capital of Canada. A, Quebec. B, Ottawa. C, 4 million gallons of maple syrup and 2,000 moose pelts. What's the capital of Canada?
Alex, KK7OGC. I'm going with Ottawa on that one. Thanks.
Yeah, you're correct, Fred. I expect people on the East Coast to get that one, but since you're in Reno, well, yeah, you got it. It is Ottawa is the capital of Canada, our 51st state. I guess they can keep that as a state capital. Daniel in New Caney, Texas, KJ5LHY. Daniel, would you rather only be able to whisper or to shout is the question of the night.
Well, Alex, I've never enjoyed being the center of attention, so I'd have to go with only being able to whisper.
And we all know people like that. They just can't help when they talk. They just scream it out, and you can hear them clear across the room. Anyway. Then again, on the other hand, you've got, your question is, this tiny frog can morph its skin texture from spiny to smooth in minutes, and is the only shape-shifting frog in the world. Come on, Daniel, everyone knows this one. Is that A, the changeling frog, B, the Davidian frog, or C, the punk rocker frog?
Well, I'm going to have to go with A, and if that is not its name, then that's what it should be. Back in that.
I agree with you 100%, which is why I put that in there, but no, they new scientists got to be a wise guy because it was recently discovered. It's called the punk rocker frog. Yep. Can change its skin texture, spiny to smooth, and the only shape-shifting frog in the world. It's punk rocker frog, Pristomantis mutabilis, is the size of a fingernail and native to Ecuador. Next time you're in Ecuador, look them up. Thanks, Daniel. Not for Ohio State University, Jerry in Fort Lauderdale. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Which whispering wouldn't be very helpful at a college football game, but what do you think?
You can whisper with a club in your hand to keep their attention. Go ahead, sock it to me.
Now that's logical thinking. Your question, Jerry. There's a statue in New York Central Park of William Shakespeare that was funded by A, the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, B, former President Ronald Reagan, or C, John Wilkes Booth. Who funded that statue of William Shakespeare in Central Park?
It was A. I think it was A. And for OSU, thank you for the net. We're down.
Well, it wasn't the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, ironically. It was C, John Wilkes Booth. Yeah, Booth and his two brothers raised $4,000 for a statue of Shakespeare with the performance at the Winter Garden Theater in 1864, a year before he assassinated Abraham Lincoln. So it's still there. They haven't torn that one down yet. Anyway, now that they know it was a Confederate that put it up, they probably will. Thanks, Sherry. Justin in Conroe, Texas, KJ5J&J. Hello, Justin. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
KJ5J&J. I'm going to have to say whisper because if somebody couldn't hear me while I'm whispering, I could just use a megaphone. Excuse me, but I can't think of what I could use if somebody said I was too loud. I don't think they made anything to make your voice quieter yet, so that's why. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, either way, it would really suck to be stuck in one mode or the other, but you make sense. I got you down with the, let's see, which question are we on? Here we are. Human composting is legal in 6 U.S. states, including which West Coast states? A, Oregon, B, California, C, Hawaii. Where do they let you bury grandma in the backyard?
I'm going to say Hawaii. I mean, I don't think they have a lot of other places to put you.
Yeah, they're probably big on cremation over there, I would think, but it's California that you can compost human waste. I mean, it's not you have to compost them down, but eventually they turn into bug food. Yeah, it's California. You can bury grandma in the yard and save a tree. Keeps funeral costs down too, so I don't know if I agree with that or not. Thanks, Justin. Let's go to Brian. I'm on Monticello, Kentucky, AC4BR. Welcome back, Brian. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody on the net. Well, I was always raised in a quiet home, so I prefer a whisper, much more preferably than shouting. Although, sometimes with the rest of the family, you don't have much choice. But anyway, so I'll turn it back to you, Alex. What's my question?
All right, Brian, and your question tonight is, the high crime rate and homeless crisis in San Francisco is causing people to move away from the city in droves. Which city is the most popular destination for former San Francisco residents? Is it A, Austin, Texas, B, Phoenix, Arizona, or C, Detroit, Michigan?
Well, that's a good one. I'm going to go with A, Alpha for Austin. That's a complete guess. I have no idea. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you there, Alex. AC4BR.
Yeah, you got it. Austin city limits. I should put a sign up. Anyway, yeah, Austin, Texas. And coincidentally, Austin is considered the most liberal city in Texas, so a lot of people from San Francisco moving there, which you can't blame them, but I mean, but we all go there. Teresa in College Station, Texas, and via the text line. How you doing, Teresa? Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Come on, Teresa, just static. Pick up the right microphone, radio, and come back to us.
Alex, this is N5ZUA. She just sent me a text message saying EchoLink had dropped on her and she's trying to reboot and get it reconnected. So if you could call her in a couple of more cycles, that would work. Thanks, N5ZUA.
Yeah, I know George had a problem with EchoLink earlier too. He had to change the proxy host or something, but anyway, thanks Steve. Yeah, well, we're almost at the end of this round anyway, so we'll give her another chance to check in here shortly. Let's go to Chris in Hollywood, Florida, KQ4UPK. Chris, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
I just don't like loud noise, so I think I'm going to go with whisper.
All right, Chris, whisper it is, and your question is, what observatory located on Mount Hollywood offers views of the Los Angeles Basin? Is that A, Hollywood Observatory, B, Palomar Observatory, or C, Griffith Observatory?
I'll go with C.
If it weren't for Hollywood, the films and television shows, a lot of people probably wouldn't know that, but yeah, it's Griffith Observatory. Yep, that's the one. Yeah, I used to work in an observatory, but I eventually had to quit. I just couldn't stay focused. Sorry. Thank you, Chris. Timothy in Tillamook, Oregon. How you doing, Tim? KK7 NXV. Would you rather Only be able to whisper, only be able to shout.
Well, I appreciate it. Have a good night.
I would much rather whisper.
Whisper it is. You know, I think whisper is leading shout. I'll have to go back and see the stats, but thank you. Thank you, Tim. Your question is, what is the name of the Amtrak train that runs between Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California? Is that the Coast Starlight? Or A, the Coast Starlight, B, the Coast Pacific, or C, the Coast Pride? What's the name of that train?
I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess and say Bravo. Back to you guys.
KK7 and XD. Yeah, and I didn't know this either. It's A, the Coast Starlight is the Amtrak train that runs between Seattle and LA. I see you wisely stayed off the train. Well, I know it's okay for some people. I'm saying that, but yeah, it's the Coast Starlight. Thank you. Thank you, Timothy. It's a W7 FTM in Scotts, Arizona, taking more check-ins for the third night Trivia Net. Full call sign. Phonetically twice, please. And if you may get back entry, so we'll put you up at the top of the list here. Come out.
Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel. Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel.
Kilo Charlie 5 Charlie Zulu X-ray KC5CZX.
Kilo Juliet 5 Delta X-ray Bravo. Kilo Juliet 5 Delta X-ray Bravo.
Okay. Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform. Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform.
All right, let's hold up there a minute. We did pick up the zone to physics 7 more. Wes made a bat. Good for Wes. First up, we have John in St. Paul, South St. Paul, Minnesota, KC1 QPL. David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. We have Daryl in Lubbock, Texas, KC5CZX. And Wes, of course, KD6EIR in Grants Pass, Oregon. Frank in Sugar Land, Texas, KJ5. DXB, and Lynn in Houston, KI5WWU. All right, John, South St. Paul, Minnesota, KC1QPL. The question tonight, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Well, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone on the Trivia Net, KC1QPL. I guess I would, good evening, Vicky, also on the log. Thanks for being here and thanks for having me. Put me down for whisper and hit me with your best shot. I'm ready for you tonight.
John, I'll give you the Britney Spears special. It's all right. Yeah. Okay. Your question tonight is, here we are. The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is in A, New Jersey, B, New York, C, trouble?
Well, in trouble, but the Statue of Liberty is actually in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead.
You know, John, most of us here in the West probably would have said New York, and no, you're right, it's in Jersey. Yeah, the Statue of Liberty is on an island that sits there. I mean, right, Liberty Island. It's actually in New Jersey. So, and New York is where you find the Big Apple. And Minnesota is where you find the mini apple. That's where the middle mini apple is. And I screwed the joke up, but. Thank you, John. You got it. David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. Well, as the only guy in the household, I've got to say shout, because otherwise nobody's going to hear me. And it makes it easy to get stains out of laundry, too. It's more economical than buying the stuff in the supermarket. What you got for me this evening?
Another good point. Your question, David, is in which state would you find Mount Mitchell, the highest peak east of the Mississippi? Highest peak east of the Mississippi. Is that in A, North Carolina, B, Florida, or C, New Hampshire?
I'm going to guess North Carolina. Thanks for running the net, Alex. Always enjoy it. Hope to get you next week. It's over there, Eddie Bitch.
Yeah, I thought I'd beat people with New Hampshire, but no, you got it. Yeah, North Carolina. Mount Mitchell is in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it's the highest peak east of the Mississippi at 6,684 feet. You people on the East Coast call that a mountain. Thanks, thank you, Gerald. You got it. Thank you, David. You got it. Gerald in Lubbock, KC5CZX. All right, would you only be able to whisper, only be able to... That is the question of the night, Gerald.
Well, good evening, Alex and the rest of the net, KC5CZX. Well, sir, the greatest of men can be brought down by a whisper. And go ahead with your question.
Indeed, and your question, Daryl, is, where are these geography questions coming from? Which of these three cities in Virginia is closest to the Atlantic Ocean? Which one's closest to the Atlantic Ocean? Is that A, Richmond, B, Norfolk, or C, Fredericksburg?
Well, I guess I'd have to go with, it's probably a trick question, so I'll go Fredericksburg. Go ahead.
Well, had I not looked on the map, I wouldn't notice either. It's Norfolk is the one that's closest to the Atlantic Ocean, just a few miles, and the others are more inland. And I think we need to visit Virginia sometime. Daryl, thanks. Thanks, buddy. Glad you can make it. There's a W7STM, Scotts, Arizona, on with Vicky, KE8VKY. Here's your East Coast Reflector Trivia Net, and I do this while I'm scrolling down. Hang on. And we got Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon, KD6EIR. Welcome back. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only to be able to shout?
Yeah, sorry, Alex. The Echolink got me. I was listening, trying to respond. Couldn't do it. I'm going to go with whisper also, because A, nobody ever listens to me anyways. And B, you can amplify a whisper if needed, but it's kind of hard to attenuate a shout. What you got? KD6EIR.
Oh, I'm glad to know you're not one of those screaming guitar players. It's irritating, especially at a club. Your question was, is Actress Eva Longoria, I've heard of her, I'm quite sure who she is, but actress Eva Longoria once did a television commercial for A Harry Potter movie, B, a trucking company, or C, cat food. What'd she do the commercial for was?
Ooh, that's tough. I think it's either Bravo or Charlie. I think I'll go. She's kind of cat-like. I know who she is. She was on a few really great. Anyway, yeah. I'm going with Charlie. Probably. I think that was cat food, was it not? Let me back to you.
Yep, that's the one. Eva Longoria did a TV commercial for cat food. She danced around in a sexy outfit for Sheba cat food. Now, I've decided to save money on cat food by getting a bird bath. And don't get mad at me. Predators and water go together in nature. Alligators in swamps, sharks in oceans, Catholic priests in baptisms. I mean, lots of examples. Frank in Sugar Land is KJ5DXP. Hello, Frank. Okay, if you had your druthers, would you only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
KJ5DXP, good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody. Put me down for a whisper, please. Back to you, sir.
Got your whisper, Frank, and your question is, which East Coast brand is the pink whale synonymous with? Go with. Which East Coast brand is the pink whale synonymous with? I've never heard of this brand, but is it A, Lily Pulitzer, B, Vineyard Vines, or C, Readers Anonymous? What's the pink whale symbolize?
Well, I have absolutely no clue, so I'll go with on that one. Thanks for the check-in, Alex. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't either, but people on the East Coast probably know this. It's Vineyard Vines uses a pink whale symbol. Okay, something for the West Coast people to know, which probably won't help. Thank you, Frank. Lynn in Houston, KI5WW. Lynn, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Good evening, Alex. Thanks for the net. KI5WW. Lynn in Houston. I'm going to go with Careless Whisper because, as you know, guilty feet have no rhythm. Ready for my question, sir?
I heard that in a song somewhere. You're on the radio, of course. Your question, Lynn, is part of the Appalachian chain. In which state will you find the Catskill Mountains? Catskill Mountains. Is that A, Maine, B, North Carolina, or C, New York?
Sure on the net. KI5WW. Back to you.
Oh, I missed the answer. Try it again.
Certainly. Charlie, New York. KI5WWU.
Yep, that's it. Even though you're in Texas, you know, yeah, it's the Catskill Mountains that are in New York. Yep. You know, the whole world should be worried if Iran has a missile that can hit New York City, because if it can make it there, it can make it anywhere. Too soon? Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, W2AJR, Andy. Okay, only be able to whisper or only be able to shout, what would you choose?
Good evening, Alex. Everybody on the net. Well, after that last joke. I definitely want to be able to shout. And also, if somebody cuts me off in traffic, I want to make sure they hear me. What's my question?
All right, Andy, which state has the longest coastline? Which state has the longest coastline? Is that A, Florida, B, California, or C, Alaska?
Well, until you said Alaska, I would have said Florida, but now I'm not so sure. Oh boy. I'll stick with Florida. Thank you.
It's kind of what I thought, because it goes all the way around, but actually Alaska has the longest coastline, 6,640 miles of it, because it goes all the way down to Juneau, and all the way up the Aleutian Islands, and yeah, thank you. There are a lot of trivia questions too, because they're also the easternmost state, having the Aleutian Islands out there, as well as the westernmost state. Thanks, Andy. All right, taking more check-ins now. Now, Teresa, let me see if she's able to connect again. KE5MUX. Are you there, Teresa?
This is KE5MUX, and hopefully you can hear me. I had second lost a minute ago.
That darn packet loss got you this time, no problem. I'll go ahead and get you here before we ask for more check-ins. Would you rather only be able to whisper, or only be able to shout, or able to avoid packet loss completely? Never mind, that's a given.
Yes, for the reason that I can sign language, and so if I can't make myself understood one way, I can darn sure make Alex.
Okay, then, whisper, you got it. And then your question is, children in the Victorian era loved to play this game. Was it A, plague, B, guillotine, or C, funeral? Now that's a hard one. Any of those could be possibilities. What do you say?
Oh, goodness, I don't know for sure, but in homage to the way that you labeled me one time on that other net, I'll say guillotine, because, Marie Antoinette, I chopped her head off. 7-3 all, KE5 and UX.
All that time to get in and I give you a ridiculously hard question. It's funeral is what the children in the Victoria area like to play. The game is exactly what it sounds like. They use a doll or sometimes their youngest sibling as a stand-in corpse and practice mourning. It was common to own little coffins and mourning garments as toys. No wonder that's the era most ghost children apparitions seem to come from. Thanks. Thank you, Teresa. I'm glad you can make it in. All right, taking more check-ins. Starting at Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo 7 Golf Tango Yankee. That's Kilo 7 Golf Tango Yankee. This is November 6 Alpha Tango Romeo. November 6 Alpha Tango Romeo.
All right, picked up two more. We have Grant in Park City, Utah. Welcome back, K7GTY. And Arthur in Houston, N6ATR. The question of the night is, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? And we go to Grant, Park City, Utah. What say you, Grant?
I'm actually in Arizona tonight. I'm down in Litchfield Park, Arizona. But I'll be back up in Park City in a few months. I think you'd have to whisper. I mean, you'd never get a mate if you only could shout. And as somebody earlier said, you could amplify your voice, but trying to whatever the opposite of amplify is, de-amplify your voice would be very difficult. So I would definitely want to be a whisperer. But that's my choice, then I guess I'll go to what my question is now.
Thank you, Grant. Got you down for the whisperer. Boy, you're in Litchfield Park on the other end of the valley from me. You must have had something really important to do to come down here in the middle of the summer. Well, anyway, none of my business. Your question is, in order for peanut butter to be called peanut butter in the United States, it must, A, mix with jelly well, B, be at least 90% peanuts, or C, come in chunky and smooth varieties. So, what do you think, Grant?
Peanut butter is pretty much all peanuts, as a matter of fact. I've been eating that. I'm trying to lose some. Well, I'm trying to keep my sugar down, and peanut butter is a decent way to do that. And I'm just looking at the label, and it's peanuts are, I would say they're 90%. They don't have to go with jelly. In my case, they don't. I stopped that when I got out of grade school, I think, although I have friends that still do that. So that's my answer. It's got to be 90% peanuts in order to be peanut butter. Otherwise, it would be something else. It's Brandy K7GTY.
Thank God they at least keep standards for our peanut butter, and they too, very often, and you can get the kind without sugar, you're right, even without oil if you want, these days, and yep, must be at least 90% peanuts to be called peanut butter in the U.S. Anything less than that must be labeled peanut spread. Peanut spread. Thanks, Grant. Arthur in Houston, N6ATR. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout if you had no choice?
Well, definitely a whisper. I'm not a loud person, and yeah, I think a whisper. And thank you, Alex, for running the net and all of the participants. What's my question?
And thank you for playing, Arthur. I do appreciate it. Your question is, Arachibutyrophobia is the fear of A, Iraqis, B, spiders, or C, peanut butter.
Oh, Lord. This is definitely going to be a wild guess. I'm going to say peanut butter. N6ATR. Back to you, Alex.
Well, at least you knew it wasn't A or B, and that's, yeah, you're correct, yeah. Arachibutyrophobia, it's Arachibutyro phobia. Guess I got the last syllable correct. It's the fear of peanut butter, getting peanut butter stuck in your throat and choking, to be exact. And this is not an irrational fear. As we get older, we produce less saliva, and it's more likely to happen. So make sure you mix it with a little bread or a bagel or a watermelon or whatever. Put your peanut butter on. Thanks. Thank you, Arthur. I take more check-ins for tonight's trivia. This is W7 FCM in Scottsdale, Arizona. Come with your full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Security 2 Kilo Echo 2 Fox Yankee Yankee New York monitoring. Please Kilo Echo 2 Fox Yankee Yankee New York standby.
I'll take that as a check-in. What's your call sign again? We're doing a net here, Trivia Net. Would you like a trivia question? Just come back with your call sign.
Kilo Echo 2 Fox Yankee Yankee New York.
Was that KE2FYY?
Correct. K2FYY New York City.
All right, Archer, got you down. All right, well, the question of the night, just a general question, is what is it rather? Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout if you could only do one or the other?
All right, Roger. Can I right now put the Q2 with you, sir? You see my name, Arthur, New York City, K2FYY. What is your call sign?
Okay, Archer, I'll take that as a whisper. Your question is, a trivia question if you want to answer it is, which U.S. city is affectionately known as the biggest little city in the world? Is that A, Reno, B, Los Angeles, or C, Pahrump? Which of those cities would you choose?
Los Angeles, that is biggest probably.
By that, actually, the biggest little city in the world, if anybody springs this on you, is Reno, Nevada. So that'll get you a cup of coffee at a diner. Anyway, thank you, Arturo. Yes, this is at W7FDM in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. And okay, we'll call for more questions. Call for more check-ins, and I'll give you the question. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
November 0 India Delta Zulu. November 0 India Delta Zulu.
We'll take them one at a time. I think somebody else said that one. Wendell, Woodlands, Texas, in 0 ID Z, if I got the call sign correct. The question of the night is, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
For getting back to me, I think I'd rather whisper.
Got you down for the whisper, which I believe is a popular answer tonight. And your question, Wendell, is, where are we? Oh, at 19 years of age, he was the youngest person to become a major general in the military. Would that be A, General Patton, B, General Lafayette, or C, General Motors? Which one do you think, Wendell?
Yes, B, Bravo.
Thank you, Wendell. You know your history. Yeah, it was General Lafayette. Yeah, the General Marquis de Lafayette was a French war hero in the American Revolution, and at 19 years of age was the youngest person to become a major general in the military. And you know, Wendell, I did this question about 2 years ago. Somebody actually said General Motors, and but he should be respected too. So, thank you, Wendell. All right, more check-ins for Sunday Trivia Net. One more, and we'll have 40. Just saying, full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Whiskey Foxtrot Bravo.
Elisha, Houston, how you doing, buddy? It's been a while at KF5 WFB. Welcome to the Starnight Trivia Net and East Coast Reflector. The question tonight is, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
I guess given the choices, I would rather whisper.
Whisper it is. All right, and your question is, in the Harry Potter books, another Harry Potter question, what name is given to non-magicians? Non-magicians. Is it A, muggles, B, mavens, or C, morons?
I'll guess that's C.
Well, maybe amongst themselves they say it. It's actually muggles. A is the name given to non-magicians in the Harry Potter books. Oh, thank you, Elisha. Appreciate you checking in, buddy. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Okay, last call. Anybody? Full call sign phonetically twice, please, and we'll check into the Starnight Trivia Net.
Sierra Echo 3 Tango Alpha Sierra. Alex Victor Kilo 3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha. Victor Kilo 3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha.
Victor Echo 3 Tango Alpha Sierra.
Z6 or ZS6 ZYM, and Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia, VK3 AWA. How you doing, guys? And Edward too in Burlington, Ontario, Canada, VE3 TAF. Jan, South Africa, how you doing, buddy? If you had no other choice, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Good evening, guys. Now I will go for whisper. Whisper, go ahead.
Got you down, Jan, and another geography question. An island named for which British explorer is the largest on the west coast of the Americas by both area and population? An island on the west coast of the Americas. Is that island A, George Vancouver Island, B, Samuel Saskatchewan Island, or C, Alberta Island?
I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going for A, but it's just a guess. Go ahead.
Good guess. And funny how often people in other countries know about things about the U.S. better than people here do, but even if it was the guess, you're correct. Yeah, George Vancouver Island. Vancouver Island is the island. It's the largest on the west coast of the Americas by both area, 12,000 square miles, and population, 860,000 people. About the size of my City. I live in here. Thanks, Scottsdale, not Phoenix. Thanks, John. You got it, buddy. Appreciate you checking in. Let's go to Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia. VK3AWA. How you doing, Daryl? I heard you on the system earlier. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Alex, Vicky and the net. Oh, I'd definitely whisper, Alex. I have a vision of going to a social event and being there and shouting, shouting at everybody. Just think of the response you would get. Ready for the question. Thanks, Alex.
Well, if you're at a political protest in the U.S. lately, that would be the norm, but I would stay away from those. Thank you. Thank you, Daryl. Your question is, well, it's about the U.S. Maybe you know this. Which U.S. state has the lowest population? The lowest. Would that be A, Wyoming, B, Vermont, or C, Alaska?
Well, I think I'm going to go Alaska, Alex.
At one time, before they started offering free, the government said you can move here and not pay taxes and you get oil revenues, but it's Wyoming. Yeah, Wyoming. Wyoming is the state with the lowest population, 587,000 people, thereabouts. Vermont is second with 648,000, and Alaska, 740,000 people in the entire state. So, yeah, it's mostly concentrated in, of course, Anchorage and Juneau. Anyway, thanks, Cheryl. I appreciate you checking in. You have to tell me sometime part of Australia with the lowest population, and what state in Australia. Going to Edward, Burlington, Ontario, Canada, VE3TAS. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout, Daryl? Or Edward?
Alex, I would rather whisper. Less energy and saves the throat. Over.
There's always amplification. You got it. And your question is, okay, the letter, let me start over. This letter is the most commonly used in the English language. The most common letter used in the English language. Any Scrabble player would probably know this. Is it A, B, E, or C, I?
I would take a guess, and I would say B, E. And let me know how close I am.
You are correct. Yeah, E is the most commonly used letter in the English language. Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is you're playing Scrabble and get a bunch of consonants that no E's or anything. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate you checking in. All right, well, got a few more there. If you'd like to check in to Saturday Night Trivia Net, full call sign phonetically twice, please.
E3TAS here. Alex, I've got a question. How is my signal coming through? I've just redone my 578 and just trying out the transmission. This is the first transmission I've got out of this radio, the E3TAS.
Ed, you asked for a radio check during the net? Yeah, it's okay, I don't mind. Actually, it sounds good. Your audio is high enough. There's a little bit of path noise, but it's very readable, no problem.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Go ahead and clear with your call sign just to be official.
Much VE3TAS.
Thank you, Edward. Appreciate that. And all right, any more check-ins? Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Romeo 4, Echo Sierra Foxtrot. Kilo Romeo 4, Echo Sierra Foxtrot. Kilo Echo 2, Foxtrot Tango Golf. Kilo Echo 2, Foxtrot Tango Golf.
Sean in Crestview, Florida. New check-in KR4ESF. Yeah, I think I have that right. And Michael in Cornwall, New York, KE2FTG. Anyway, thanks for checking in, Sean. Welcome to the Coast Reflector Trivia Net. Your question of the night is, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? It's been fairly even, although I think whisper is kind of taking the lead now. What say you?
Yeah, Alex, I think we're going to stick with whisper. It seems to have picked up the pace a little bit, and I don't think I would want to be shouting at night and bother people while they're trying to sleep.
Honey, wake up! Yeah, would work too well. Although she can do that to me. It doesn't work in reverse. All right, Sean, your question is, in which 1979 film featured the spaceship Nostromo? Was it A, Alien, B, Star Wars, or C, The Matrix?
This is a complete guess, because I was born in the early 70s, so we'll go with B, Bravo.
Well, you've been very, very young watching Star Wars and Alien. And The Matrix, no, not so much, but it's, and Nostromo was the ship in Alien A, and Nostromo. And The Matrix, it was the, I can't think of the name of the ship in the, I'm sure somebody knows. Ezra Connector, anyway. Yeah, it's, anyway, thanks. Thanks for checking in, Sean. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Michael, Cornwall, New York, KE2FTG. Hello, Michael. What was the ship in Star Wars first? And then, would you rather only be able to, Star Wars, in The Matrix, would you only be able to, rather be able to whisper or only be able to shout? I think I straightened all that out.
Well, I think shouting doesn't usually work out too well for me, so I'm going to try for the whisper this time. Back to net.
Whisper it is. Thanks, Michael. Your question is, you're more likely to do well in school if your last name, A, is easy to pronounce, B, starts with an A, or C is the same as the teacher's name. Which one of those is true?
Just kindly give me that first choice again. What was A again, please?
Oh yeah, you're more likely to do well in school if your last name, A, is easy to pronounce.
Yeah, I think we're going to go with that one, rather than the teacher's name. We'll go with A, thanks.
Yeah, the odd thing is, and I didn't realize this, but, experts say, you're more likely to do well in school if your last name starts with an A, B, which is studies show that students do worse in school if their last name starts with a letter that comes later in the alphabet. It's called alphabetism, oh good Lord, another thing, and can carry into adulthood. Yeah. So if your last name like starts with a Z or a W, you will do poor in school because you're more likely to be called on, I guess, if you're further up in the alphabet. Anyway, thank you, Michael. As W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona. Taking more check-ins. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
This is Kilo 8 Foxtrot Sierra Hotel, K8FSH, Darren in Muskegon, Michigan.
Good evening, Darren in Muskegon, Michigan, K8FSH. Welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. And the question of the night is, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? And what do you think?
Well, I just joined the net, so I'm curious what other people are saying, but I guess I would say, if I had to choose, I'd say whisper. Seems like, ironically, more people will listen to a quiet voice than a loud shouting voice.
Yep, that is the popular answer tonight, and you're correct. You know, people listen more intently to you. Unless you're a Marine drill sergeant, you probably don't need the super loud voice anyway. All right, your question is, okay, another one of these research studies. When you're at work, it detracts from your ability to do your job if you think about sex too often. Is that A, true, or B, false? Or C, I'm a man, what else would we think about? What do you think?
I'm laughing out loud over here. I'm inclined to say C. But yeah, maybe it might detract from your work, but I think at least for comedy's sake, I'll say C.
Well, Darren, it's kind of a, an opinion questioning, but I'll have to give it to you. What we're looking for, though, is false. When your work and ability to do your job, if you think about sex too often, is actually false. Researchers who have actually studied this have found that thinking about sex stimulates a part of your brain that focuses on the present and thinks logically and analytically, of course. On the other hand, so to speak, thinking about romance enhances your creative abilities, so there you go. Do that, think about sex or romance, you'll be more creative on the job. Just try to convince your superiors of that. Thank you, Darren. Any more check-ins for the Saturday Night Trivia Net? We're still open, W7FTM, Scottsdale, Arizona, full call sign, phonetically twice, please.
SWL Oscar 4, Victor, Tango, Juliet, KO4, BCK, Gilbert.
Kilo 4, Bravo Romeo, K4, BDR voice, isn't surprised.
Yeah, we picked up 3 more. We have Gilbert in Orlando, Florida. Welcome back, Gilbert, KO4 VTJ. Voice and surprise. I think. Arizona, K4 BBR. Welcome back, boys. And Frank in Lancaster, KC2, JPQ. There you are, Frank. The question of the night, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout if you had no choice? What do you say, Gilbert and Orlando?
Good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. Well, I'm going to have to go with whisper. You know, I think yelling and screaming kind of causes for more of a tense environment and a lot more anxiety. So I'll go with whisper. Anyways, I'm ready for my question.
When you come from a home with an Italian father and a Scottish mother, there's a lot of shouting going on, so you would think that would have that effect, but it actually has the opposite effect. You want to avoid that. That's just saying. All right, Gilbert, your question is, the British Navy used songs by this artist played at high volume over ships' loudspeakers to scare off Somali pirates. Apparently it worked because there haven't been too many Somali pirates lately. Which artist did they play at loud volume to scare off the pirates? Was it A, Michael Jackson, B, Britney Spears, or C, the Jolly Rogers? And yes, that is a real band. What did they use, Gilbert?
Good morning. Officer on Tango X-ray Whiskey, load check-in.
Man, well, you know, I don't remember even reading about this or anything, so I'm just going to take a guess. I've never heard of the Jolly Rogers, but it sounds like it goes with a theme. So I'm going to go with that, but no, I have a feeling that's not right. But let's go ahead and go with that.
Yeah, it's not right, but it sounds cool, doesn't it? Jolly Rogers is called the Pirates. Real band. Yeah. I know they played Britney Spears. Yeah, that's the Muslim Somalis didn't really care for Britney Spears being played. The pirates themselves find most Western culture repulsive. Of course, they're not the only ones, but nonetheless, that's what they did. So, hit 'em, baby, one more time, and thanks, Gilbert. Appreciate you playing. Let's go to Boyce. Prize Arizona, K4 BBR. Welcome back. Would you rather only be able to whisper, only be able to shout?
Oops, I did it again. That's what I'm thinking.
I guess shout. I'm not really sure. I haven't thought that through, but I'm going to go with shout and see what happens.
Well, boys, my questions of the night require a lot of deep thinking. I spent hours putting these out here, and you didn't even give it the time. That's all right. We'll take a shot. Your question is, who invented the tavern? Who invented the tavern that we all love? Was that A, the British, B, the Greeks, or C, the Romans?
Tavern.
Gee, now you're making me feel bad about the other question. Well, I'm sure probably the oldest people, maybe going back right after the cavemen, probably somebody along the way started having bars, I guess. But I think it was the British that called them taverns. So I'll go with the tavern. I'll go with British. Let's do it.
And are they taverns, pubs, whatever? Actually, it was the Romans. They came up with the tavern. I probably didn't call it that, but Roman expansion to Celtic Europe brought taverns that served as hostels and restaurants. So they were kind of a combination. And yeah, really, you can go in and have a beer and eat food just like today, just early on. So anyway, thanks. Appreciate that, boys. And it got to check in. And don't worry, Gerald, we're getting to you. Kate, old TXW. But first we have Frank in Lancaster, New York, KC2, JPQ. All right, Frank, would you rather only be able to whisper, or only be able to shout? Now, you're kind of soft-spoken, but I don't know, maybe you want to shout. What do you say?
Good evening, Alex, and everybody listening to the net. Yeah, I would go for whisper. I don't think I want to shout all the time. Ready for my question. So, hey, I got hung up with NASCAR race tonight, so some people over, and finally it broke up.
Hey guys, you can make it, Frank. Yeah, it wouldn't be a net without you checking in. Actually, I appreciate you put me at 50 in the last two check-ins, so it doesn't happen very often. All right, your question, Frank, is, let's see, what was the name of the small bird that was Snoopy's friend in the comic strip Peanuts? You read Peanuts? What was the name of that little bird that was Snoopy's friend? Was it A, Tweety, B, Woody, or C, Woodstock? Great. Are you there, Frank? Going through his old Charlie Brown books. Frank, C2 JPQ, do we still have you? That's okay. We'll give you an in and out for now. I'm getting ready to call for more check-ins in case you make it back, Frank. Not a problem. Let's go to Gerald in Golden, Colorado, KA0TXW. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Working. Gerald, Golden, Colorado, KA0TXW. Okay, I guess we'll give Gerald in and out too. All right, last call. Check-in. Cernak Trivia Net. Full close sign. Phonetically twice, please. Okay, well, let's see how we did tonight. All right, 50 people checked into the net tonight. Checked into the net tonight. That's beginning rate. And we appreciate everybody who did. We don't often get 50, so thank you to everyone. And of those who answered questions and were in and out, we have 23 people got their answers correct, and 22 people missed their question. That's probably the evenest split I've seen in a while. 23 to 22, or 51% to 48%, 0.9. And as far as the question of the night, let's see, would you rather only be able to whisper, only be able to shout? It looks like whisper is the clear winner in this. We had 10 people that said shout, and 35 people said, well, you better be stuck in whisper mode than shout mode. That's 77% to 22%.
KC2JPQ, recheck.
K8VKY for logging the net and keeping me entertained in the background. We now return control of the East Coast Reflector back to you until next week at the same time, when the control voice will take you to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. 7-3, good night, W7 FTM Clear.